Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. Clara has been with you for so long without any name or status and even gave you a child, and you have no thoughts about it all. What ideas do you have? Even if she gives birth to 10, they are merely playthings. Looking at the conversation on the screen, I tighten my grip on the mouse. Alex used my computer last time, and I didn't expect him to be so careless. The chat history was synced over as well. Clara is also quite pitiful, going through so much to conceive your child, yet getting nothing in return. Pitiful? It's just self-inflicted. I could almost see the man's disdainful expression as he frowned slightly. In Alex's eyes, I am nothing but a gold digger who overestimates herself and cunningly climbed into his bed, not only ruining his future with Maya, but also becoming a stain on his life. When you're done playing, let's have a turn two. Not to mention anything else, Clara is truly a great beauty with curves in all the right places and fair, beautiful skin. After a long time, Alex finally replied, "Whatever." I turned off the computer and touched my chest. If it were in the past, knowing that Alex said this to me would have made my heart ache unbearably, and I would have cried and asked him, hoping he would comfort me. Every time this happens, he looks at me with cold eyes, mocking me to recognize my own identity. I would again humbly hold his hand, eagerly yearning for his pity. But now my heart is completely calm. Just one man I, Clara, no longer want. When Stella got out of school, I was making her favorite honey cake. She stood on tiptoe to watch my hands and said, "Mom, today a classmate asked me why Dad never comes to pick me up." I paused for a moment and looked down at her. "What did you say?" Her big eyes blinked. "I said my dad is on a business trip." Stella resembled Alex to a large extent, inheriting his high intelligence and displaying remarkable wisdom at such a young age. Yet despite this, Alex did not pay much attention to the child. I crouched down and softly asked Stella, "Would you be willing to go if your mom took you away?" She widened her eyes. "Where are we going?" "It's not decided yet. Do you want to leave?" She nodded heavily. "Dad doesn't like us. Let's go find someone who likes us to play with." My heart ached. Stella wasn't like this before. She really liked Alex. Every time Alex came, she would excitedly show him the painting she had made and would share her favorite toys with him to play. It's probably because he hates me that Alex also hates Stella, always frowning and sending her away, telling her not to disturb his work. Once, Stella was cutting fruit for him and accidentally cut her hand, yet she still smiled and brought it over to him. Alex looked at her bleeding little hand, but only irritably scolded. Can a child play with a knife? What a nuisance. He didn't eat a single piece of fruit and left in a huff. After that time, Stella no longer dared to please him. When he came here again, she would only take a quiet glance and dare to hide and play by herself. This idea of leaving became even more resolute. Stella was right. There was no need to keep those who didn't like us. That night, just as Stella fell asleep, Alex arrived. Recently, Maya returned to the country. Shouldn't he be with Maya? How could he come here where Stella just fell asleep? He rarely takes the initiative to ask about Stella, so I couldn't help but share that today she got 2 Elsa stickers in kindergarten. The first in the class. Alex interrupted me. "Talk about something else. This is boring." I was taken aback, and suddenly a surge of anger welled up inside me. "Dogman, you don't even care about your own daughter. Go spend your life with your Maya." Alex likes to work out and doesn't eat much at night, so I heated him a cup of milk. "Hello, Mr. Alex. It's been a long time since you came." Alex doesn't allow me to call him by his name. I can only refer to him as Nanny. He drank the milk in one gulp and sneered, "What are you complaining about?" Once, when he asked this, I would nervously explain, afraid he would be unhappy. But now my heart is filled with disdain. "Did you really think I wanted you to come? I would rather not see you at all." I quickly waved my hand and said, "How could that be? This is your house. You can come whenever you want." He pulled me over, tearing off my clothes while pushing me towards the bathroom. "Remember your own identity. You have no right to complain. Whether I come or not is none of your business." Although Alex doesn't like me as a person, he is very fond of my body. This is what I've observed over the past few years. That night, he was still very restless, and I was too exhausted to flatter him anymore. The next morning, Stella came over to find me as usual, but was scolded out by Alex. I was awakened by his voice. Suppressing my anger, I asked, "What do you want for breakfast?" He adjusted his cuffs, glanced at me, and sneered. "Do you really think of yourself as the mistress?" With that tone, I advise you to rein in those little thoughts. I can barely allow you to be my lover. As for anything else, don't dream. I put on a smile and flattered him. How could that be? I don't dare to ask for anything more as long as I can stay by your side. I made a ball of small wontons according to Alex's preference. While he was eating, I cautiously asked, "I heard you're going on a business trip in a couple of days. Where to?" Alex slammed the spoon down with a clang, his face serious. "What does it have to do with you? Do I need to remind you? You are just my lover, not qualified to question anything about me." I stiffened for a moment and pulled his hand. "Then I won't ask any more." His hand suddenly pinched my face, and I resisted the urge to swat his hand away. Looking at him innocently, he looked down at me, his tone icy. "Don't entertain any crooked thoughts. Tricks like to catch the tiger cub. One must first scare off the flock won't work on me." He roughly pushed my chin away and stood up to walk outside. "While I'm not in the capital, you stay put and don't cause any trouble for me." I set my mind at ease. This is what it means to confirm a business trip. Only when the door closed did Stella quietly come out of the room. I touched her slightly sad little face, feeling increasingly disgusted with Alex in my heart. How could I have loved someone who was so cruel, even to his own daughter? "Stella, if we leave, will you miss Daddy?" She shook her head decisively. "No." Then she looked at me with anticipation. "Mom, let's go quickly. Otherwise, every time Dad comes, I won't be able to play outside. I'm also anxious. I just want to leave, but I can't walk away swaggeringly. I need to plan it out carefully." I finished telling my plan to my friend Ivy, and she looked at me in shock. "Is it true? You just let go of Alex like that?" I nodded slightly. He has always believed that I deliberately went to bed with him. Clearly, he had the ability to find out the truth, but for so many years, he has allowed himself to misunderstand me. Not only does he despise me, but he is also unkind to Stella. "I no longer need to hold on," Ivy said with a pained heart. "I've seen how that dog of a man treats you. I wanted to advise you to leave long ago, but unfortunately, you dove in head first and wouldn't listen to anything. Now it's good. You've finally come to your senses, and I'm happy for you." I held her hand with emotion. Over the years, thanks to Ivy's help, the day I gave birth to my daughter, I called Alex several times but couldn't get through. If it weren't for Ivy bringing me baby supplies, I wouldn't have made it until the ambulance arrived. When Stella was 1 year old, she had a high fever. That day, the driver was not available, and Alex could not be reached. Holding Stella in the car for more than half an hour, she had already started to twitch, and I was anxiously pacing back and forth. Finally, it was Ivy who came to take us to the hospital. I have kept in mind Alex's absence over the past few years. The day after he went abroad, I took Stella to a rural leisure park in the suburbs to have fun. On the way back, the car broke down, fell off the mountain road, and plunged into the rushing river. Alex sat in the car and suddenly clutched his chest. The assistant asked worriedly, "Mr. Alex, what's wrong?" He suddenly felt a tight pain in his heart for some unknown reason, as if something was being pulled away. The pain gradually faded, and he waved his hand and got out of the car. Half a month later, he finally returned to his home in the country. Alex had just come out of the bathroom when the butler handed him the apartment keys. "What is this?" "The key to Miss Claire's apartment." Alex was a bit confused. What does she want from me? What is she trying to do? Long before Clara moved in, he had established a rule. She could not go to work and had to stay in the apartment at all times, waiting for his arrival. Since she had volunteered to share his bed, he had no need to be polite. The butler respectfully reported, "Miss Clara and the child fell into the river half a month ago, and there are no remains." The apartment. "The tent has been vacated." Alex paused in drying his hair, almost doubting his hearing. The butler repeated, sighing, "This can be considered a case of evil being repaid with evil." Mr. Alex's stain has finally disappeared. Alex suddenly laughed out loud. "How is that possible? You can joke too." The butler glanced at his expression and added, "We sent a rescue team to salvage, but it's the estuary and the water is very swift. Apart from the wrecked cars, we found nothing else." There is still a hint of joy on his face. Alex stiffly turned his neck. "Are you so happy? Everyone is happy for you. Originally, Miss Clara also used dirty tricks to get close to you. Now that she's gone, you can reconcile with the old man." Alex clenched his fist and slowly nodded. "You're right. Dying." Well then, he turned and went to the study. He went about his daily routine as if nothing had happened, following the same 2 points every day. His mother occasionally called him back to the old house, urging him to get married soon. Now that Clara and the child are gone, you should have a good talk with Maya. She always understands you. Alex nodded and arranged to have dinner with Maya that evening. Stella and I have been in Lake City for half a year now. The climate here is more livable and the cost of living is very friendly. I can finally go to work and earn money on my own. As soon as I arrived at the company, a colleague came over to gossip. "Clara, have you heard? One Young Technology Group is going to acquire our group." I was taken aback. One Young Technology Group? That's Alex's company. I heard that people from over there are coming to do an assessment in the next few days. Sigh. I wonder if there will be layoffs. Another colleague leaned over and said, "I also heard that the big boss is coming in person." The owner of One Young Technology Group is quite a handsome guy. I scoffed inwardly. He is indeed handsome, but that's the only advantage he has. On the way home, I ran into Aunt Helena's son, Evan. Evan works at a private hospital. "Clara, your medical examination report has come out. If you don't mind, I'll bring it back for you next time." I quietly thanked him. He looked at me several times, wanting to say something, but hesitating. I can't help but feel a bit awkward. His attitude is too obvious, especially towards Stella, almost like he treats her as his own child. Last week, he even took Stella to the amusement park. I need to find an opportunity to clarify things with him. Stella is playing at Aunt Helena's place across the street. As soon as she entered, she didn't rush towards me, but instead threw herself into Evan's arms, calling out cheerfully, "Uncle Evan." Evan lifted her and placed her on his neck, and the two looked just like a father and daughter. I quickly pulled Stella down, exchanged a few pleasantries, and then went home. "Mom, I like Uncle Evan. It would be great if he could be my dad." I fell silent. Even from the perspective of a child's healthy growth, the family indeed needs a male presence. The next day, the company held a meeting and confirmed the rumors among the colleagues. Alex is really coming. I feel a bit flustered. If I run into Alex, will he take us back? But I haven't been on the job for a year, and I don't have paid vacation. Am I really going to have to take a leave just to avoid Alex? It wasn't until I got home in the evening and saw the entertainment headlines about Alex and the actress's scandal that I suddenly realized, yeah, he hates us so much that he would love for us to leave. He would definitely just pretend not to know us. I immediately felt relieved. 3 days later, Alex walked past me without glancing sideways, and I became even more resolute in my thoughts. All day long, I felt much lighter on my feet, and my work efficiency improved significantly. But when I saw that familiar figure downstairs at my residence, my good mood came to an abrupt halt. I lowered my head, hugged my bag tightly, and quickened my pace into the building. Behind me came the sound of footsteps, neither fast nor slow, and I instantly felt a chill run down my spine. I dare not go to the other side to pick up the child, so I could only head straight back home. A tall figure squeezed me through the door. The moment the door closed, my neck was grabbed. Alex's harsh voice rang in my ears. "Well, Clara, you can actually pull off something like faking your own deafness to escape." His grip tightened more and more, and I could only feel the oxygen in my lungs gradually thinning. This man really wants to strangle me. I blushed and desperately hit his hand before he finally let go, just easing a bit. I quickly started to explain. "Listen to me, I didn't mean to." I told him the excuse I had prepared long ago. My daughter and I did fall into the water and were rescued. I hit my head and lost part of my memory, which is why I didn't go back. Alex sneered. "Do you think I would believe such nonsense?" I swallowed hard. "Really, if you don't believe me, go ask Aunt Helena across the street." He looked at me with a mix of belief and doubt for a while. then turned and sat down on the sofa, taking on the demeanor of a host, and commanded me, "I'm hungry. I want to eat some small wontons. Eat, eat, eat you to death." I immediately smiled and said, "Then wait a moment." Upon arriving in the kitchen, I quickly sent a message to Aunt Helena. In this situation, I could only have Stella hide on the opposite side while Alex finished his meal but showed no intention of leaving. I was a bit anxious. "Aren't you leaving?" He shot me a sidelong glance, then turned his head back to continue watching TV. "Are you trying to kick me out?" I forced a laugh and said, "How could that be? It's not easy to see you. I'm just happy to see you." Until dusk deepened, he still showed no signs of leaving, and I began to feel restless because at this time, Stella should be going to bed. A sneer rang out. "Clara, do you want to keep your daughter hidden forever?" Stella has already fallen asleep, and Alex came over with me. The initiative to pick up the child. His posture was not very skilled, but his broad shoulders made it quite stable for little Stella, who lay comfortably on top. In the 4 years Stella was in front of him, he had never held her like this. When she was a little younger, Stella walked unsteadily. Seeing Alex, she stretched out her little arms and called out, "Daddy, hug me." Alex just glanced down and walked past her directly. That time, Stella's cries lingered in my memory for a long time as I recalled. Stella had already been placed in the crib by him. Alex turned to me and said, "If you like staying in Lake City, that's fine. I'm going to acquire your group, you know this, and I will definitely be coming to Lake City more often in the future. I'll arrange a new place for you to live." What does he mean by this? I hesitated and asked, "Are you saying you want me to be your lover in Lake City?" Alex frowned slightly. "What's wrong? You unwilling?" He suddenly let out a scoff. "Clara, have you forgotten how you climbed into my bed in the first place?" "Or did you climb up?" My thoughts suddenly returned to 7 years ago. The first time I met Alex was not on the night he thought, but before my college graduation. Alex was invited to give a speech at my school. As the student representative, I asked him a question, and his answer was concise and clear. I almost fell in love with him at first sight. Later, I interned at a hotel, and when a guest requested a hangover remedy, I brought it up only to realize it was him. That was the first time I felt the disparity of power between men and women. I shouted at him while struggling, "Mr. Alex, I'm the waiter. I came to deliver the hangover remedy." But he held my hands down, blocking all my words. In the most tender moment, he whispered, "Maya." I thought he remembered me too. But later, I found out that his girlfriend is named Maya. Remembering this, I suddenly didn't want to flatter him anymore. I just calmly looked up. I remember that night Alex stayed here again. "You'll change to a new bed tomorrow. It's uncomfortable to sleep on," I replied softly. Fortunately, there was only one bedroom here, and Stella was sleeping next to him, so he didn't make any unnecessary movements. In the morning, a small hand touched my face. I opened my eyes, and Stella covered her mouth, asking softly, "Mom, why is Dad here?" I sighed and took the child out of the bedroom. "Stella, if Mommy takes you to other places, will you be unhappy?" Stella lowered her head and thought, "Then we won't be able to see Ran. But Mom, if you don't like it here, we can leave." I hugged her little body with emotion. My daughter truly is my little cotton-padded jacket. I took Stella to kindergarten, and only then did I come back to tidy up my things. Alex had already woken up and was getting dressed. "Bring me lunch at noon. I want to eat crab burro tofu," he said. I replied, "I have to go to work. I don't have time to do that." He frowned, displeased. "Then just quit. I'm not unable to support you." I tried my best to suppress my anger and, "All right, I'll deliver it to you at noon." I ordered takeout for him, and just as it arrived, I received a message from an unknown number. "Clara, you've really made it, giving me this kind of garbage to eat." I turned a blind eye and focused on my work. After work, I entered the community and ran into Evan. He handed me the health check report and said, "Why do you look a bit unwell?" I tugged at the corner of my mouth, and without needing to guess, I knew how ugly my smile looked. A cold voice sounded ahead, and Alex looked over with a stern face. "Clara, did you come to Lake City for him?" I was taken aback. What was Alex talking about? He pulled me over and said, "So you like this kind of refined scoundrel now?" I frowned, not wanting to drag Evan down with me. Just holding his hand, I said, "Let's go up first." Alex cast a disdainful glance at Evan and pulled me upstairs. "You really know how to seduce men." I looked up at him and said, "How could that be? I only like you." He snorted coldly and did not pursue the topic any further. I secretly cursed him and realized I had to hurry to leave. It was probably because the bed was uncomfortable that Alex didn't stay over, so I quickly called Ivy for help. Why should you leave just because he arrives? Besides, Stella can't keep going through this. Hearing this, I sighed. If it weren't for Alex's immense power, I wouldn't want to hide. However, Ivy reminded me that I escaped this time, but what about next time? Alex is clearly still interested in my body, and he won't let go easily. I want to come up with a way to make him completely lose interest in me. Just as I hung up the phone, Evan's message popped up. "Clara, if you need help, you can reach out to me." When I placed the marriage certificate in front of Alex, he was momentarily taken aback. "I'm already married." "I'm sorry, Mr. Alex. I can no longer be your lover." Saying this, my heart suddenly became completely calm. Last year, Alex's cousin told me that he was about to marry Maya. When Alex came to the apartment, I held on to him tightly, crying and begging him not to marry someone else. He frowned and pushed me away coldly, saying, "What right do you have to make demands of me? Have you looked at your own character? If I don't marry someone else, do you think I should marry you?" At that time, I bumped into the corner of the table, and the second child who had arrived without me knowing was lost just like that. Alex just sneered and said, "Still using childish tricks? Once is enough." At this moment, the man in front of me had a dark expression, looking at me in disbelief. "You married someone else, Clara? Don't you only love me?" I said calmly. "It used to be like this, but not anymore." Alex seemed to have heard something incomprehensible, furrowing his brows at me for a while, then suddenly sneering. "So during this time, you were playing me?" I corrected him. "It's not playing, it's just to soothe you. I'm afraid you might hurt Stella." He widened his eyes. "I am her father. How could I possibly hurt her?" I just quietly watched him after a long pause. While he probably remembered his past attitude towards Stella, his expression became unnatural. After that day, Alex never came again. He didn't often come to the office. I was just happy to be at ease. That day, I took Stella to the high-speed train station. But suddenly, we were intercepted by another car on the way. The taxi driver asked, "Is this person looking for you?" I took a look, and it was actually Alex, so I shook my head. "I don't know him. Please walk around him." Alex got out of the car, shouting something, but I didn't turn back to hear. I just focused on what was ahead. The phone suddenly rang. It was Alex. His voice was dark and trembling slightly. "Clara, are you going to run away again?" I just felt confused. Who is running away? "I'm going back to my hometown." He gasped twice before hanging up. Stella looked up and asked, "Mom, is Grandpa hurt badly?" I shook my head and remained silent because I had a child out of wedlock. My father had cut off contact with me 6 years ago. If it weren't for the village chief telling me, I wouldn't have even known he had injured himself. Looking back, it's really laughable that I hurt my father's heart for a man who doesn't love me. I had just arrived at the hospital when I ran into Alex's assistant. "Miss Clara, Mr. Alex asked me to check in on you. Dad's condition isn't serious. He just needs to rest more." After a few days, he urged me to leave, so I had to hire a nurse to take care of him every day. It was only when I returned to Lake City that I learned Alex had been in a car accident on the day I left. A colleague gossiped that he was speeding to chase someone. I wonder which lucky woman has captured Mr. Alex's favor. I really didn't expect Alex to be this crazy. That night, Alex called, "Clara, can you come see me? I want to drink the soup you made." I said lightly, "Mr. Alex, you shouldn't be lacking in chefs." After that, I hung up the phone, but the next day, Aunt Helena anxiously told me that Stella had been taken away by someone. Alex sent a message. "If you want to see the child, come to the hospital. I want to drink soup." When they arrived at the hospital, Stella was sitting in a pile of toys, crying. No matter how the assistant tried to comfort her, it was useless. Seeing me, she rushed over with a sense of grievance and held me tightly without letting go. "Mr. Alex, what are you doing?" Alex leisurely reached out to me and asked, "Where's the soup?" I replied, "I didn't make any." He immediately frowned. "I am her father. Can I see her? Without waiting for me to speak, Stella turned her head and shouted, "You're not my dad. You're a big bad guy." I jolted and quickly covered her mouth, nervously looking at Alex. His face was ashen, gritting his teeth. "Are you so afraid that I can eat her?" I didn't say anything, just used my expression to tell him that I really thought so. Alex gasped for breath, pulling at the wound, and immediately turned pale, waving his hand for us to leave. I hurriedly took the child and left. As soon as Alex got home, he sent a message, "Get a divorce. I can overlook this part of you. We could be like we used to." I decisively blocked him the next day. After work, a strange number called me. As soon as I answered, it was Alex again. His tone was relaxed and assured. "Your husband works at Wessing Hospital, right?" My aunt is the second largest shareholder of Wessing Hospital. I gritted my teeth, but could only endure and bring the chicken soup to the hospital. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, a slap came at me, and before I could react, my face was burning with pain. His mother looked at him with disgust. "You really are clever, luring my son here and making him infatuated with you." I scoffed. "Have you ever asked your son whether it's me who's stringing him along, or if he's the one chasing after me like a dog? If you can keep him from bothering me and Stella again, I might even thank you." At that moment, the assistant rushed over in a panic, saying that Alex had fallen off the bed. The two hurriedly ran back to the ward. Facing the curious gazes all around, I turned and left. A roar came from behind. "Clara, come back!" As soon as I arrived at the community, I ran into Aunt Helena. Her face was pale. "Clara, Stella is missing," Aunt Helena exclaimed. I took Stella out to buy groceries, and just at the moment of paying, Stella disappeared. My first reaction was to think of Alex or his mother, and I immediately returned to the hospital, but Stella was not there. Alex comforted me. "Don't worry. I've already sent someone out to look for her, and we'll have news soon." I couldn't hear anything at all. I grabbed my backpack and ran out to look for the places where Stella might have gone. Until night fell, there was still nothing to show for it. At that moment, Alex's assistant called me. They had found some clues that the assistant to the general manager of a competitor of Wanyang Technology Group had taken Stella away. Once back at the hospital, I stormed in and slapped Alex across the face. I glared at him, no longer able to contain my anger. "If anything happens to Stella, I won't let you off the hook." Alex's eyes were a bit red, and he quietly said he was sorry. The waiting time was long and agonizing, and I couldn't help but cover my face and cry silently. Several times, Alex wanted to reach out and hug me, but I pushed him away. I hated myself for being indecisive for the first time. If I had taken Stella away earlier, this wouldn't have happened. I hated Alex even more. Why should my mother and I receive no preferential treatment from him, yet have to pay for his actions? Thinking of this, I could no longer suppress my anger, swinging my backpack and throwing it at him. "Why did you ruin my life with Stella, bastard?" The assistant was startled and was about to come up to stop me, but was halted by Alex raising his hand. By the time I finished venting, the bandages on Alex had already soaked through with blood. I collapsed back into the chair, panting and out of breath. But as soon as I thought that Stella still didn't know if she was safe, I covered my face and cried out loud. Stella was sent back the next day. Alex probably made some kind of deal with the other party. I didn't ask. It was all because of him. So whatever he does is justified. On the day I bought the plane ticket, Alex called me. His voice was hoarse and rough. "Clara, I know you're not married. Don't run away. I won't chase you anymore." I silently canceled the flight ticket. If it weren't absolutely necessary, I wouldn't want to be running around with Stella. After a long time, I didn't see Alex again, but his assistant moved Stella and me to a new place and arranged for Stella's school. After the start of school at Stella Elementary, new neighbors moved in next door. Stella quietly told me, "It's Dad." Alex spent a long time on the balcony every day while Stella plays with water. He also takes a water gun to play with her. I didn't stop it, even though I had given up on Alex. But Stella needs a father's love sometimes. Alex's nanny would come over to bring some food, and she curiously asked, "Why does your family of 3 still live separately?" I smiled and replied, "We are not husband and wife." Later on, I don't know what Alex said to her, But every time a nanny came over, she was very indignant and cursed him. Now you know to regret it. What were you doing back then? However, Alex has never appeared directly. Until the day the typhoon arrived, the entire building lost power, and Stella trembled in my arms. Before long, the floor-to-ceiling glass of a household across the street was completely overturned, and a person was swept out. I held Stella tightly, trembling with fear, and hid by the door. Before long, the door was suddenly knocked on, and Alex's anxious voice rang out. "Clara, are you all okay?" He opened the door, and Alex was wearing slippers and loungewear, his hair still wet and foamy. I shook my head. The stormy night quickly passed. It was as if some boundary had been broken, and Alex often came over to play with Stella. He sometimes gazed at me in a daze, wanting to speak but hesitating, yet I never gave any response. On Stella's 6th birthday, Alex said to me, "Clara, I know that I misunderstood you in the past. I am sorry." His tone was filled with frustration and regret. I was really a jerk before, not realizing my feelings and doing many things that hurt you and Stella. I want to make it up to you. Give me a chance. His gaze was earnest, filled with undeniable anticipation. "Clara, I love you. Can you please?" I interrupted him and said coldly, "Mr. Alex, I haven't stopped you from contacting Stella because you are her biological father, but that doesn't mean I can accept you. I'm not someone who looks back." He looked as if struck by lightning, his eyes sparkling with brilliance. For a long time, he walked away with his head down, lost and dejected. Instead, his mother changed from her previous domineering attitude and called me several times to invite me to dinner, but I refused each time. It was less necessary. I didn't want to have any further ties. Not long after Stella started elementary school, Evan and I received our real marriage certificate. Love that grows over time is not as intense as love at first sight, but it is very solid. Evan joked, "After waiting so long, I finally become your husband." Stella is the happiest person. She even boasts to her little friends that she has 2 dads, which makes me both laugh and cry. Alex was considerate enough to reduce the frequency of his visits as he heard that his mother had been urging him to get married. However, until Stella came of age, he never got married. His assistant told me that for all these years, he hadn't even looked for another woman. After graduating from Stella University, she went to intern at Alex's group, where Alex personally taught her. At the age of 25, Stella took over the Yin group after Alex died in an accident. Evan and I have retired and are traveling the world, occasionally receiving calls from Stella, who passionately shares her plans for the future of the group. Although I don't understand it very well, I know she is very happy, and that's enough. The story ends.